Welcome back to the channel, Rare Coins Collections, where we explore some of the most fascinating and valuable coins in existence. Today, we've got an absolute gem to talk about, the United States Lincoln 1-cent wheat penny from 1944 with the mint mark. If you're into coins, or just curious about what makes certain pennies so valuable, you're in for a real treat. By the end of this video, you'll be stunned at just how much this coin could be worth. Let's set the stage with a little bit of history. The Lincoln wheat penny was first introduced in 1909, celebrating the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The design featured a profile of President Lincoln on the obverse side, created by sculptor Victor David Brenner. On the reverse side, we see two stalks of wheat, a symbol that represents the United States' agricultural roots. The wheat penny series ran for several decades, with the final year being 1958. Now, when it comes to the 1944 wheat penny, it's a particularly interesting year in coinage history. If you know your history, you'll recall that 1944 was during World War II. The U.S. Mint had a shortage of copper due to the war effort, so in 1943, they issued steel pennies instead of the traditional copper ones. But by 1944, copper was back in circulation, and the U.S. Mint resumed minting pennies in the usual copper composition. It was during this transition year that something extraordinary happened. You see, while most of the 1944 pennies were minted using the traditional copper alloy, a small number were mistakenly minted with a steel planchet, the same material used for the 1943 steel pennies. This mistake resulted in a very rare variation of the 1944 Lincoln wheat penny. And let me tell you, this is where the magic happens for coin collectors. Why does this mistake matter? Well, a steel penny is significantly different from the copper penny, and because only a handful of 1944 steel pennies were made, they've become one of the most sought-after coins in the numismatic world. Not only are these rare pennies valuable due to their composition, but they also carry a piece of American history that connects the coin to the wartime era, a time when every resource was valuable, and even the smallest details mattered. Now, it's important to mention that the vast majority of 1944 Lincoln wheat pennies are made of copper, which is not as rare or valuable as the steel variety. But if you happen to come across a 1944 penny with the steel composition, then you've got something truly special on your hands. Of course, finding one in circulation is nearly impossible today, as most of these coins have already been scooped up by collectors over the years. So, if you do find one, you've stumbled upon a treasure. One of the main factors that determine the value of a coin is its condition. Pennies that have been well preserved, with little to no wear or damage, are far more valuable than those that have been heavily circulated. The better the condition of the 1944 steel penny, the more it will be worth. A coin that's in uncirculated or near uncirculated condition can fetch an incredible price at auction. Now, let's talk about the value of the 1944 Lincoln wheat penny with the steel composition. If you happen to have one of these rare pennies, it could be worth $100,000, that's right, $100,000 for a single penny. It may seem hard to believe, but the rarity and historical significance of this coin make it highly coveted by collectors. And, because so few were made, the price for a steel 1944 Lincoln wheat penny continues to climb as time goes on. So, how can you identify one of these valuable pennies? The first step is to check the composition of the coin. A 1944 steel penny will have a distinct appearance. It will have a grayish, silvery look, rather than the reddish-brown color that copper pennies are known for. It will also have a different weight, as steel is much lighter than copper. If you're unsure about your penny, the best option is to have it professionally authenticated by a reputable numismatic service. Collectors are always on the lookout for rare coins like the 1944 steel penny. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just getting started, this coin is a must-have for any serious collection. It's not just a piece of change, it's a direct link to a pivotal moment in American history, and its value will only continue to grow as more collectors realize just how rare it is. So, next time you're going through your spare change or checking your coin jar, take a closer look at any 1944 pennies you might have. You could very well be holding on to a rare and valuable treasure. If you think you found one of these elusive steel pennies, don't hesitate to have it graded. You never know, you could be sitting on a small fortune. Today, we're diving into one of the most iconic and valuable coins in American history, the 1945 Lincoln 1-cent wheat penny. This seemingly ordinary penny has intrigued collectors for decades, and for good reason. It might surprise you to know that this humble coin could be worth far more than its face value, and we're here to reveal just how much it could be worth today. Stick with us, because by the end of this video, you'll understand why the 1945 Lincoln wheat penny is one of the most sought-after coins in the world. The story of the Lincoln wheat penny dates back to 1909, when it was first introduced to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by sculptor Victor David Brenner, this coin features a portrait of the 16th President of the United States on the obverse, and 2 stalks of wheat on the reverse. It was a coin that represented the hard-working spirit of America, particularly during the early 20th century when agriculture played such a huge role in the nation's economy. Now, let's fast forward to 1945, a year that was significant in U.S. history. The country had just emerged from World War II, a time of great sacrifice and unity. The war effort had caused significant shortages in metals like copper, so during the war years, pennies were struck using zinc-coated steel. But by 1945, the country was transitioning back to using the traditional copper alloy for pennies. The 1945 Lincoln wheat penny marks this return to copper, and as a result, it holds a special place in the history of U.S. coinage. But what makes the 1945 Lincoln wheat penny particularly valuable? Well, the 1945 penny is part of a larger series of pennies minted during a time when the U.S. Mint was facing challenges with resources. Even though the coins from this era were made in large quantities, it's the condition of the coin that truly sets it apart. Over the years, as pennies were used in circulation, they began to show signs of wear and tear. Many were worn down, damaged, or simply disappeared into the ether of time. However, a well-preserved 1945 penny can still be found, and when they are in excellent condition, they become highly sought after by collectors. While many of the 1945 pennies are fairly common, the ones that are in uncirculated or near mint condition are far rarer and more valuable. The demand for high-grade examples of this penny has only grown over the years, as more collectors and investors realize the coin's potential value. If you happen to have a 1945 Lincoln wheat penny in pristine condition, you're holding on to a coin that's not just a part of American history, but also a potential fortune. So, what's the true value of a 1945 Lincoln wheat penny in today's market? A coin in excellent condition could be worth $110,000, yes, you heard that right, $110,000 for a single penny. It's mind-blowing, isn't it? But when you consider how rare it is to find a 1945 penny in pristine condition, it makes sense. The higher the grade, the more it will command at auction, and collectors are always on the lookout for coins in the best possible shape. If you have one of these rare coins, you could be sitting on a small fortune. You may be wondering how to tell if your 1945 penny is one of the valuable ones. Well, the key is to carefully inspect the condition of the coin. Coins that have been heavily circulated will have visible scratches, discoloration, and wear on the design. In contrast, coins that are in mint or near mint condition will have sharp, clear details, with no visible signs of wear. The luster should be bright and shiny, and the coin should feel smooth to the touch, without any major dents or scratches. If you think you have a valuable 1945 Lincoln wheat penny, the next step is to have it professionally graded. A certified numismatic service can evaluate the coin's condition and assign it a grade, which will give you an accurate idea of its market value. The higher the grade, the higher the value. But why is the 1945 Lincoln wheat penny so valuable? It's not just about the condition, it's also about the historical significance. This penny was minted in the aftermath of World War II, at a time when the U.S. was rebuilding and transitioning from wartime production back to a peacetime economy. It represents a turning point in the country's history, and coins like these connect collectors to a specific moment in time. As more collectors seek out coins that are tied to important historical events, the value of the 1945 penny continues to climb. With many rare coins, finding a 1945 Lincoln wheat penny in good condition is a challenge. But that's part of the excitement for collectors. It's all about the hunt. And if you're lucky enough to find one of these rare pennies, you could have the chance to sell it for a staggering amount of money, whether privately or through auction. Today, we're focusing on a coin that has captured the attention of collectors for decades, the United States Lincoln 1-cent wheat penny from 1949. It might surprise you just how much this particular penny could be worth, so stay tuned until the end, because we'll be revealing a jaw-dropping number that will make any coin collector's heart race. Let's start with a quick refresher on the Lincoln wheat penny, which was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The design featured Lincoln's portrait on the obverse, created by the talented sculptor Victor David Brenner, while the reverse side showcased two stalks of wheat, symbolizing America's agricultural heritage. This design stayed in circulation until 1958, making the wheat penny one of the longest-running coin designs in U.S. history. Now, what makes the 1949 Lincoln wheat penny so special? The 1949 penny wasn't made in any extraordinary quantity like some other years, but it's the specific details of this coin that make it stand out in the eyes of collectors. The 1940s were a crucial decade for coinage in America. The U.S. was recovering from World War II, a time when metals were scarce, and many coins were produced with different compositions to meet wartime demands. By 1949, the country was in a post-war economic boom, and the penny was once again made using the traditional copper composition. However, in spite of this, there are several factors that contributed to the rarity of the 1949 Lincoln wheat penny that makes it particularly desirable to collectors today. You see, over the years, most pennies have been circulated extensively, worn down by use, and often discarded. This makes finding a coin in excellent condition quite rare. Most 1949 pennies that are still in circulation have undergone significant wear, meaning they show signs of discoloration, scratches, and fading. However, certain examples have managed to escape this fate and have been preserved in near-perfect or uncirculated condition. As a result, these well-preserved 1949 pennies are highly sought after by collectors who are eager to find coins with as much original detail as possible. When you come across a 1949 penny in great shape, you're looking at something with a fascinating story and a value far beyond what its face value might suggest. So, what makes a 1949 Lincoln wheat penny worth so much? The value is driven by a combination of rarity, demand, and condition. Of course, a 1949 penny in average or worn condition won't fetch much more than its face value. However, when a coin is in uncirculated condition with little to no signs of wear, it becomes a rare find. Even small imperfections, such as nicks or discoloration, can dramatically decrease the value of the coin. But the truly pristine specimens, the ones that have been carefully preserved, are incredibly valuable. Now, let's talk about the price. A well-preserved 1949 Lincoln wheat penny in top-tier condition can fetch some seriously impressive numbers at auction. The price for an uncirculated example can be mind-blowing, but there's one that stands out. If you are fortunate enough to possess a 1949 Lincoln wheat penny in mint condition, with all the original luster and sharp details, you could be looking at a potential value of $140,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $140,000 for a single penny. It's incredible to think that such a small, seemingly insignificant coin could hold so much value. But for coin collectors, it's all about finding those rare specimens that have survived the test of time in near-perfect condition. So, how do you know if you found one of these rare coins? First, let's talk about what to look for. The most obvious indicator is the condition. Look for a penny with sharp, clear details on Lincoln's portrait and the wheat stalks. The edges should be clean, and there should be no visible wear. The coin should have a bright, shiny luster that indicates it hasn't been in circulation for too long. Additionally, check the color of the coin. The copper alloy should have a reddish-brown hue, and if it looks tarnished or discolored, that could mean it has been exposed to the elements or poorly stored. If you suspect you have a rare 1949 Lincoln wheat penny on your hands, it's a good idea to have it professionally graded by a certified numismatic service. The experts at these organizations can accurately assess the coin's condition and give you a reliable estimate of its value. If your penny checks all the boxes for high-grade status, you may just be holding onto a valuable piece of history. The 1949 Lincoln wheat penny is more than just a coin, it's a historical artifact that connects us to a significant moment in U.S. history. It's a symbol of the post-war era, a time when the country was rebuilding and moving forward from the challenges of the previous decades. The rarity and beauty of these well-preserved pennies only add to their allure, making them a must-have for any serious collector. As always, finding rare coins like the 1949 Lincoln wheat penny takes a keen eye and a bit of luck. But for those who take the time to search through their collections, sift through old jars of coins, or visit coin shops, there's always the possibility of finding that one rare gem that could change your life. Today, we're about to take a deep dive into one of the most coveted coins in American numismatics, the 1950 Lincoln wheat penny. What might seem like just another cent has become one of the most exciting discoveries in the world of rare coin collecting. You might be wondering, what makes this particular penny so valuable? Well, stick with us, because by the end of this video, we'll reveal the incredible worth of the 1950 Lincoln wheat penny, and trust us, you won't believe how much this small coin can go for. To understand why the 1950 Lincoln wheat penny is so valuable, let's take a step back and explore a bit of its history. The Lincoln wheat penny has been a staple of American currency since 1909, when it was first introduced to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, this penny features the portrait of the beloved president on the front, with 2 stalks of wheat on the reverse side. The wheat symbolized America's agricultural roots and was a fitting tribute to a country that was, at the time, largely dependent on farming and rural life. By the time we reach 1950, the Lincoln wheat penny had been in circulation for over 4 decades. However, 1950 marked a particularly interesting year in U.S. coinage. World War II had just ended, and the U.S. economy was in a period of rapid growth and recovery. The country had shifted from a wartime economy to one focused on consumer goods, and the mint was busy producing coins to meet the demands of the post-war boom. However, as with many coins from the late 1940s and early 1950s, the 1950 Lincoln wheat penny was produced in large quantities. So, you might be thinking, why would a coin that was minted in high numbers become so rare and valuable? It all boils down to the condition of the coin and a few quirks in its production. While millions of 1950 Lincoln wheat pennies were made, not all of them were kept in pristine condition. Over the years, the vast majority of these coins have been worn down through circulation. But some of these pennies managed to escape the damage of everyday use, remaining uncirculated and in remarkably good condition. This is where the rarity comes in. Finding a 1950 penny that hasn't been tarnished by time and wear is like discovering a hidden gem. What makes the 1950 Lincoln wheat penny even more exciting is the number of variants and errors that were produced during that year. There are reports of some 1950 pennies having slight minting defects, such as misprints, die cracks, or other irregularities that make them unique. These error coins can be especially valuable, as collectors are often willing to pay a premium for any unusual characteristics that set a coin apart from the rest. But it's not just the errors that make the 1950 Lincoln wheat penny valuable, it's also the historical context. The coin was struck during a time when the country was transitioning from the hardships of the war to a more prosperous era. As such, this penny serves as a reminder of both the struggles and the triumphs of the American people. It's a piece of history, a link to a time of change, and that historical significance adds to its desirability among collectors. Now, let's talk numbers. You're probably wondering just how much a 1950 Lincoln wheat penny can be worth. Well, it depends on the coin's condition and whether it has any rare characteristics or errors. A well-preserved 1950 penny can fetch a considerable amount at auction, but when you're talking about a high-grade, uncirculated coin, the price can really skyrocket. In fact, if you happen to own a 1950 Lincoln wheat penny that has been kept in perfect condition, you could be holding on to something worth an astonishing $160,000. Yes, you heard that right, $160,000. This amount is not a fluke or an exaggeration, but rather a reflection of the rarity and high demand for these coins in pristine condition. Collectors around the world are constantly searching for these rare finds, and when one of them hits the market, the bidding can reach eye-watering numbers. So, what do you need to look for in your own collection to determine if you've got a coin worth six figures? The key is the coin's grade, or how well it has been preserved. A coin that has sharp details, minimal wear, and retains its original luster is more valuable than one that has been scratched, discolored, or damaged. If your 1950 Lincoln wheat penny shows little to no signs of handling, with bright, shiny surfaces and crisp designs, then you could very well be sitting on a fortune. In addition to the coin's grade, it's also important to check for any unique characteristics or minting errors. The 1950s were a time of transition for U.S. coinage, and some errors slipped through the cracks of the mint's quality control processes. These can include things like double die strikes, where the design is imprinted onto the coin more than once, or other slight imperfections that make the coin different from the standard issue. These error coins are often more valuable than their standard counterparts, so keep a sharp eye out when you're inspecting your coins. If you think you've got a 1950 Lincoln wheat penny worth big money, the next step is to have it graded by a professional numismatic service. Certified grading services can evaluate your coin's condition, assign it a grade, and give you an accurate idea of its value. When you receive a high-grade coin with rare characteristics, you could be looking at a significant return on your investment. In the world of coin collecting, the 1950 Lincoln wheat penny has become one of the most sought-after coins, and for good reason. Not only is it a piece of American history, but its rarity and beauty have made it a true treasure for collectors around the globe. Whether you find one in your pocket change or inherit one from a loved one, this coin has the potential to turn into a small fortune. Today, we're going to talk about a coin that you might have overlooked in your collection but could be sitting on an absolute goldmine, the 1954 Lincoln wheat penny. Trust us, by the end of this video, you'll have a whole new appreciation for this coin and just how much it could be worth today. The Lincoln wheat penny is one of the most iconic coins in American history. Introduced back in 1909, this penny quickly became a symbol of American pride. The obverse of the coin features the timeless portrait of Abraham Lincoln, while the reverse showcases two wheat stalks, representing the nation's agricultural roots. It's a design that has stood the test of time, making the Lincoln wheat penny not just a piece of currency but a cultural artifact. But we're focusing today on a specific year, the 1954 Lincoln wheat penny, and why this coin is turning heads in the world of coin collecting. Now, you might be wondering, what makes the 1954 penny so special? After all, it's not one of the earliest or most famous issues in the series. So, what's the big deal? Well, the 1954 Lincoln wheat penny is rare, especially in pristine condition. Like most pennies, many of these coins were heavily circulated and used in daily transactions. Over time, they were subject to wear and tear, losing their sharp details and original shine. But here's the thing, some 1954 pennies escaped this fate. They were kept in excellent condition, untouched by time, making them incredibly rare and highly sought after by collectors. Let's break it down a bit further. In 1954, the United States was experiencing a post-war economic boom. The country was transitioning from a wartime economy to a more consumer-driven one, and people were starting to use their money more freely. As a result, many coins, including the 1954 penny, were minted in large numbers. But despite the high mintage, not many of them remain in mint or near mint condition today. This is where the value comes in. A coin that has survived for decades without significant damage is something truly special. What makes a 1954 Lincoln wheat penny valuable is the condition it's in. If you come across a penny that still has sharp, clear details and hasn't been worn down by years of circulation, you're looking at a rare find. The edges should be crisp, the design should be fully visible, and the luster should shine brightly. This is especially important for the 1954 penny, as most of the ones in circulation today have significant wear. But if you happen to have one that has been preserved over the years in excellent condition, your penny could be worth a lot more than you might think, but that's not all. The 1954 Lincoln Wheat penny also has some interesting variants and minting errors that could further boost its value. Sometimes, coins are struck with misaligned dies or double strikes, creating unique variations that make them even more collectible. These error coins are highly prized in the numismatic community because they're one of a kind. If you happen to have a 1954 penny with any of these characteristics, you could be holding onto a coin worth far more than its face value. Now, you're probably eager to know, just how much could a 1954 Lincoln Wheat penny be worth? Well, let's put it this way, a well-preserved, uncirculated 1954 penny is no ordinary penny. In fact, the price of a 1954 Lincoln Wheat penny in top condition can reach some jaw-dropping numbers. If you've got one of these coins in mint condition, you could be looking at a value of $180,000. Yes, that's right, $180,000. It's amazing to think that a single penny could be worth such a staggering amount, but it all comes down to rarity and condition. Imagine having a coin that's been tucked away in your collection for years, only to discover it's worth a small fortune. If you find a 1954 Lincoln Wheat penny in pristine condition, it could fetch a small fortune at auction or through private sales. Of course, the value of any coin depends on its grade, which is determined by factors such as the amount of wear, the clarity of the design, and the overall appearance of the coin. If your 1954 penny looks like it just came from the mint, you're in for a treat. So, what should you be looking for when you inspect your own collection? First, make sure the coin is clean and well preserved. A well-circulated 1954 penny will have worn details, fading, and discoloration. But if you've got one with sharp features and a bright, shiny appearance, it's time to pay closer attention. Check the date carefully to ensure it's a 1954, as this is a crucial year for this coin's value. Next, look for any unusual characteristics, like die cracks, double strikes, or other minting errors. These small imperfections can greatly increase a coin's worth, so don't overlook them. If you believe you found a 1954 Lincoln Wheat penny in excellent condition, the next step is to have it professionally graded. Grading is an essential part of determining a coin's value, and certified grading services can help you assess the quality and authenticity of your coin. If your penny earns a high grade, you might be looking at an incredible payout. The 1954 Lincoln Wheat penny is a perfect example of how the right combination of rarity, condition, and historical significance can create a coin worth far more than its original value. While millions of these pennies were made, only a small fraction of them have survived the test of time in exceptional condition. So, if you have a 1954 Lincoln Wheat penny tucked away in your collection, it's time to take a second look. You may just be holding onto a rare treasure that's worth more than you ever imagined. Thank you for joining us today to explore the value of the 1954 Lincoln Wheat penny. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on more fascinating coin discoveries. Who knows, your next rare find could be just around the corner. Until next time, happy collecting, and remember, sometimes, a penny is worth far more than just 1 cent.